Hey guys, we are pleased to say that we are associated with the Sophie Lancaster Foundation charity. And now, a message from one of our supporters.
Hi, I really appreciate the work that you've been doing for the Sophie Foundation. I do actually remember Sophie from back in the day, you know, when we were wandering around Rock World. I've never spoke to her, but I do remember her face in the club. But that place was like, it was just a little community for everyone, you know, like people that didn't feel belong anywhere, you know, like they belong anywhere else. It was really heartbreaking to hear what had happened to her. But I think the work that has been done since that event, that awful event, has been amazing to get the awareness out there, you know, and trying to make positive change. Keep up the good work. Thank you.
To learn more about this wonderful charity, head on over to www.sophielancasterfoundation.com.
Hey Jamie, do you like being cozy?
I do.
And do you like staying cozy?
I like that even more.
Then just heading over to www.staycozyclothing.com,
where you can find hoodies, tees, sweaters, and much, much more, with a new fall line out now.
And just enter the Chronicles as one word at checkout to receive 10% off your order.
And make sure you follow them on the Instagram at Stay Cozy Clothing to keep up to date with all the new designs.
Remember, guys, that's the Chronicles as one word at checkout to receive 10% off your order.
Hello.
Hello. Oh,
I like the little placement, background placement you got going on there. Just to let you know, 2 movies I was in. All right.
do you want this? Is this better?
Yeah, go for it. Probably more comfortable for you as well.
Okay.
Hello.
Oh, you sound much clearer
Much better.
as well. Yeah,
Great.
absolutely. Well, I mean, we might have got the times wrong, and we might have been sat here for an hour.
Oh, really?
We were like,
Oh, no.
I swear we said 11 and 7. And we read back through, and Jamie was like, I think I said now before 1, so that makes it 12, which means we should be here at 8.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
Exactly. Sorry, I was here. I could have jumped on. Miscommunication.
It's all good. Shit happens. It's fine. You know, we'll get over it. It's all right. It's all good.
We're making it happen. We're juggling and shifting through jury duty and everything else.
Exactly.
So.
You know, it's only 3 extra days with picked and time. It's fine. We're here now. That's all that matters. All right.
Great.
How are you, Danny? Are you okay?
I am. I'm well. Thank you. How are
Wonderful. Yeah, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for asking. That's thrown me slightly then.
you? No one ever asked about you, Tom. Come on.
Nobody does. It's a long story. No, I'm joking. I've just every single word of the English language just completely went out of my head then.
That's great. Yeah. That's a great place to start from.
It's brilliant. But, seriously, thank you so much for doing this. We really appreciate it.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Oh, not at all. Not at all. So who doing jury duty for? No, I know you can't tell us. It's fine. What's the case? Who did it?
I don't know yet. I'm actually just going to check in, and I'm kind of hoping I just skate through without ever having to get that far.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not needed. Cool. Cheers.
Just rock up.
I've never actually sat on the jury. I've been there many times. I've been called in, and then I either don't get picked, or last time I actually got picked and then they threw the case out. So, I think that happens more than not.
Okay. Fair enough.
We'll see.
I think it's
hopefully I didn't just curse myself. I get stuck on some trial that lasts for the rest of my life.
Yeah. Day 487. It's like, I just want to go home. Do you get locked in on jury duty, or can you leave? Can you leave?
I don't know. I actually don't have the answer to that question. You can request. You can request all kinds of, exemptions and excuses and whatever. So if it were a situation where it was going to go on for a while, I would certainly have to plead my case.
Absolutely. Anyway, we're not here to talk about that. Sorry, I was just really intrigued. But all that happens is we literally just going to hammer an absolute shed ton of questions at you, and have a really nice conversation. Enjoy our time. Enjoy ourselves. That sounds like a plan.
Great. Sounds good.
Wonderful. When Jamie's ready.
Yeah, sorry, my laptop charger's playing up. But
oh, is it?
We'll work around it. Don't worry. If I disappear, you know why. Anyway, right. I'll just do, like Tom said, I'll just do a little introduction and then we throw a ton of questions at you. So let's go. Hello, everyone. Today we welcome a woman who is, quite frankly, a badass. Today's guest is a multi-talented performer. She's a dancer, an actress, a filmmaker, and a stunt performer, working on projects like The Matrix, John Carpenter's Vampires, and Army of the Dead. Today we welcome you to the Chronicles of Danielle Burgio.
Wow, what a lovely intro. Thank you.
Why, thank you.
You just basically have to warm you up, you know. Lured with false sense of security, Danielle, that's what it is. But in all seriousness, how has your pandemic season been?
You know, I mean, I guess it just gets a little bit better every day. Out here in California, the numbers are way down and, you know, things are open, but, you know, people are still running around with masks on, and you do have to show vaccine cards almost everywhere you go. And it's a weird world that we're living in. Like, it's very strange still, but, you know, almost 2 years in now, here we are still standing.
It's crazy, isn't it? It's nuts how they were like, once 2021 gets here, it's going to be absolutely fine.
Oh, right. I remember in the beginning, they were like saying, like, people were going, lockdown for 2 weeks. Are you kidding me? And I was like, it's going to be at least 2 months, people. And they were like, you're crazy. Now it's like 2 years. And we're all like, oh my gosh, what just happened? Yeah.
Did you, while you were locked away though, did you learn a new skill? Decide to teach yourself anything at all?
Oh, as a matter of fact, yes. I actually taught myself to play the guitar, which I've been
amazing
wanting to do for so long, and I'm like addicted to it. So I play every day, and I'm not that I'm any good at it, but I have committed to pick up that guitar every single day for the last. Actually started it just before the pandemic hit. I took 2 classes locally.
Yeah.
And then when the pandemic hit, I was like, okay, great. I got to stick with this. And I actually just bought myself a new guitar just like a few days ago. I was like, okay, I had an old guitar that I had for 20 years and I never picked it up. It was just sitting there collecting dust. So that's what I started learning on. And then I was like, you know what? I think it's time for me to have a grown-up guitar. So I bought myself a Taylor. Yeah, no, it's great. It's great. I brought myself a Taylor and it's red, and I'm like, it's really sexy, and it makes me feel like a rock star, even though I'm like, I really can play like 10 songs at this point. But and my dog is sick of hearing the same 10 songs over and over.
What's your go-to? What are you playing?
I just learned Can't You See by Marshall Tucker Band, which has got a nice little finger picking intro, so I'm pretty excited about that. I play Stand By Me. I play Ain't No Sunshine. I play Have You Ever Seen the Rain? That's one of my favorite ones to play. I play Creep. That's another favorite one to play. Wish You Were Here, Pink Floyd. Yeah. You're getting all the insight into me now, right?
This is what I'm going for. I'm digging, Danielle. I want to keep going.
Anyway, I did that. And then I also adopted a German Shepherd puppy who had been injured in a car accident. And so we spent the first part of that healing each other. And then, and I've been doing a lot of dog training during the pandemic. She's turned out to be a beautiful animal. Hopefully she'll stay quiet. I've told her she has to be quiet when we do this. So usually she's good, but just in case she's not, I have my little bark buddy to make loud noises at her. We won't hear them. She'll hear them. So anyway, she might say hi. We'll see.
That's cool. What's it's like?
I've never heard one of them.
Tell the dog to shut up or something.
It's Dr. Shut Up. Yeah. It's like a high pitched sound that we don't hear, but they don't like. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's quite clever. I like that.
They come up with the niftiest things.
We had a guest previous who basically brought all his animals in.
Really?
It's just the cat was licking itself on the couch. The dogs kept coming in to like sniff the camera stuff. It was just It was a wild time. It was a wild time.
I love it. I love it.
So, Daniel, you're known for doing so many things, but take us back. What was young little Miss Burgio? What was the original plan for your career? Was it always performing?
Yeah, I think kind of early on, when I was 11, my parents moved us from New York to North Carolina, like right in the middle of a school year, which was, that's a bit rough on kids, like right in the middle of a school year. So in order to help make friends, my mom put us in dance class and horseback riding. And my sister stuck with the horses and I stuck with the dance. And that was, I think at that point, I realized I not only had a physical knack, but I loved performing. And I kind of jumped in at that stage pretty quickly. And I was like, this is what I want to do. And I think I knew I was good at dancing, but I always wanted to be an actress. But even at a young age, I thought dancing is going to be my foot in the door. That'll be the way that I can get myself into the industry. And so as soon as I was old enough to fly the coop, I went back to New York City, and my very first audition was for Starlight Express on Broadway, and I booked the job. So I started there. I think there was a little foreshadowing to my stunt work there. Like in a million years, I never even thought about stunts. I didn't know stunts existed at that point. I just wanted to be on Broadway. I wanted to be an actress. And then after the show closed, I realized I no longer wanted to be on Broadway. Good thing I learned that quickly. And then I started dabbling in a little bit of film and TV mostly, and commercials in New York. And at that time, really, if you wanted to be in film and TV, you needed to be in LA. Things have changed now. You can be a lot of different places. But at that time, you needed to be in LA. So I packed my bags, came out to LA, thought I was going to be a big, overnight sensation. And when that did not happen, I had met some stunt people that said, hey, you'd be really good at this, with all my dance background, my physical skills. And I had started taking some martial arts, and they said, there's a real need for women in the industry that can do these things. And at that point, I was just thinking more of like being an action actor, where I would maybe get into, do some martial arts movies and things like that, not really thinking stunts. And then shortly after, right place, right time, opportunity knocked. I was smart enough to say yes, got a couple little stunt gigs, and then my career just kind of skyrocketed. And I thought, well, this is everything I wanted to do. It's that, I'm working with the actors and the directors and producers and these big projects, just like I've always dreamed. I'm just working in a little bit different capacity. But some people really are, physically acting on set. And there were a lot of opportunities starting to present themselves where I was getting acting roles that required the physical part. So I was both the face on camera and doing the physical stuff. And that kind of became like a nice little pocket for me. And then my career just kind of went from there. And I mean, that was the really big launch. And then since then, it's kind of shifted and turned some more. I never really stay in one place too long. But I did that for a very long time.
That's amazing. I mean, because I always thought like you'd either do one or the other. I didn't realize you get to do both, which is absolutely nuts. But I mean, obviously, like you said, you didn't ever think stunts would be something you'd ever do. But it must be exhilarating to do some of the stuff that you do. Because obviously you were Carrie Moss's stunt double for The Matrix Reloaded and Revelations, weren't you?
Correct. Yes.
That must have been unreal.
It was such a huge thrill. I mean, coming off of, when the first Matrix came out, I had not even gotten into stunt work yet. It was right as I was starting to think about it. So I remember sitting in the theater and seeing Trinity on the screen like everyone else and going, oh my God. I want to be her, I want to do that. And that was the first time that we had really seen like that level of female action, and the way that the Wachowskis executed it was tremendous. We were all like, what is this beautiful film? I mean, it still goes down in history as one of the greatest action films of all time, and what it's done to change the way that they shoot action, and with the visual effects and everything that they were able to accomplish, it was amazing. So to come off of that and then to get into stunts and get the opportunity to audition for the sequels, that was huge. And then honest to God, I couldn't even believe that I ended up landing that job. And to be honest, it was a little bit bittersweet, because the Wachowskis really want their actors to do everything. So here I thought, I'm going to get to do all this stuff. And I got out there and trained really hard and trained with Carrie-Anne and set up a lot of the sequences. But really, she did a lot of it. I mean, I did this stuff where it's like, okay, let's let Danielle step in and like take the hard hits right now. But all the really fun fighting stuff, like that's mostly Carrie-Anne. So it was a little bit like, well, what am I doing here? I want to play and do all this stuff. But I mean, it was tremendous to be a part of that project, and to be in that environment with all of those people, all the amazing performers. And I have to shout out to Debbie Evans. She was the Trinity double for all of the car and motorcycle work, and she's a legend and she's amazing. And so to be there and to get to watch her work, I'm so inspired by her, and I take zero credit for anything on wheels in that movie. But yeah, it was life-changing, career-changing, educational, inspiring, all of that.
Amazing.
Did I read that you broke your ribs doing The Matrix?
I did. There's this sequence where the elevator opens and the agent steps out and Trinity's standing there, and then she sort of backflips back, and then they get into this huge tussle, and he starts picking her up and throwing her around that hallway. Yes, and at one point he slams her into the wall that crumbles, and then takes her and throws her clear through the other wall. And it was on landing, coming through that second wall on the landing. I snapped my rib, and I actually from that sequence had several like, minor fractures, but the one that went through the wall was the full split. Yeah. That was good times.
You can tell you're a stunt performer the way you just downplay that. I had a few fractures, it's fine. They were fine. But the other one, ow.
It's kind of par for the course. I mean, not that any of us want to get injured, but I think when you're a stunt person, it's very similar to being a professional football player. You're not going to get out there and play day in, day out, week after week, and not get hurt at some point. So.
Was that quite early on though, or was that quite late into the movie?
Yeah, luckily it was towards the end of the run for me. Yeah. So I only had like a couple more weeks to get through, and I actually did not tell anybody that I had broken my rib. I didn't even know that I had broken my rib. I knew I was seriously hurt. And I went home into like a bathtub of ice and like, a bottle of Vicodin or whatever it was I took. I don't remember. I was in a lot of pain. And then came back to set, worked a couple days, got through the day somehow. I don't know how. And then we were doing another gag where they had me in a harness. And when you're in a harness, it's so tight around your entire body. And then when they lift you, it like everything even like gets tighter. So they put the harness on me, they lifted me in the air. And at that moment, I think my face went white. And I think I might've even passed out on the wires. And I was like, down, I have to get down. And that's when I was like, okay, yeah, I can't fake this anymore. I was in such excruciating pain. And at that point, they sent me to the hospital and discovered that I was all broken.
I think it goes back to what Jamie said though about you being a badass, because that's amazing. The fact that you still powered on through another couple of days, but my ass, that must I can't even imagine what you must have been going through.
I did actually get to finish the film. They took it easy on me the last few days, so I made it to the end of my contract, so that was good.
That's good, but it sounded like Carrie-Anne did most of it anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank God for Carrie-Anne.
Yeah.
Making me look good.
So just want to go back to what we were saying at the start. Did you say that your first audition, you landed a role on Broadway?
I did.
That's nuts. No, like tiny theaters beforehand, nothing, just straight to the big leagues.
No, I had been working some theme parks. I worked down, my very first job was at Opryland. I was in a show at Opryland for a summer between school. And then I went down to Florida and I worked as a dancer at Epcot Center. So I was on stage there for about a year. That was before I went to New York. And I think I had done at that point maybe like 1 or 2 little music videos or something. But it was my first real, New York audition.
You did music videos, any we'd know?
Oh, no, I don't think so. I don't even remember what they were, to be honest. There was some Billy Ocean video really early on. And Will Smith, before he was, famous, like had like a small rap on that or something. This is a long time ago. A long time ago. Yeah.
So, and a Will Smith music video. It's all good.
Yeah.
That's still banging.
Yeah.
It's still awesome, yeah. So how did you say you went from dancing to stunts then? Was it literally just you saw people and you went, I'll give that a try?
I actually was in an acting class here in LA, and that was where I met some stunt performers. And yeah, they were doing like a little bit of a martial arts for actors workshop, and they went, "Hey, you're really good at this. Like, you've picked this up incredibly fast." And it was that little group of friends that said, "You should pursue this. This is, there's a lot of opportunity there for you." So, and one of those guys, his name is Keith Campbell. He is still uber successful stuntman. He was working on Batman Forever, and he said, "Let me see if I can get you on the set," and brought me in to meet the stunt coordinator, Conrad Palmisano, who was like, yeah, whatever. She has no experience. She has no anything. Who is she? What does she do? He kept saying no. Keith kept asking. He's like, "No, you should hire her." And Connie kept saying no. And then they had a situation where it was the Sugar and Spice characters. There was the Drew Barrymore and Debbie Mazar. And Debbie Mazar played Spice. And she wore this leather corset that was all handmade, hand painted. It was one of a kind, that's it, one of a kind. And so they needed someone who could fit the corset. And they had tried to bring in so many different stunt girls and nobody could fit. So Conrad said to Keith, "If she fits the corset," it was like Cinderella's shoe. It was crazy. It was my first stunt job, and I fit the stupid thing, and I got my first stunt job.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
If memory serves, didn't she have like a really massive hair as well?
Yeah, it's like it was big black. It had some red streaks going through it. I have a photo of it somewhere.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Fair play though. Your first job in theatre, straight to Broadway. First movies, Batman. That is absolutely amazing. So, did the acting roles come hand in hand with the stunts, or was that something you sought out separately?
I was seeking it out separately. That's something I have always pursued. And whereas all those other things have come very easy to me, on the acting side of things, not so much. And any of the amazing acting opportunities I've gotten have always been through the, like, taking the left road, taking the fork in the road, not the normal. Most people come to LA and they get an agent, and their agent sends them for an audition to the casting director. And then the casting director takes them to the director, and then they book the thing. And it's just never worked out that way for me for some reason. Never been able to get an agent. I mean, not never. I've had a couple agents, smaller agents. Most of my career, I've ended up working on my own and getting opportunities just through people who know me, or maybe like if I'm on set, I'm doing stunts. I've made a relationship now with the director producer, and then they say, "Hey, we have a role coming up in the next episode that you'd be great for. Do you want to read for it?" Or like in the case of Army of the Dead, I got a call literally out of the blue. I've got Zack Snyder on the phone for you. I was like, okay. And we know each other through a social circle. And he said, hey, I have this role of soccer mom and I'd love for you to do it. Yeah. I was like, what? My head spun. Great. So yeah, it's been very, I've taken the road less traveled to my acting roles.
But I find that incredible though, because that, you know, some people, they're coming up, they go, I can't get an agent. What's the point? I'll go work at McDonald's. But, you know, you're like, no, I'll find my own fucking route. I'm going to make this. I will be successful. I'm going to do this. So if I was wearing a hat, I'd tip it. I think that's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, at that point, when I really wanted to shift out of stunts and focus more on acting, I knew I needed to create my own opportunities. And I had always been, you know, fascinated with storytelling. At the end of the day, like, that's really what I love, storytelling. So in any form. So I took it upon myself to write a couple of shorts that I wrote, directed, produced, and played the role. Because I thought, well, if I want to show people what I can do, I can't just wait for them to give me an opportunity. That's not working out. I'll show them what I can do. And then I did these short films, and I was like, oh my God, this is so hard to direct and produce and act and everything at the same time. Not ideal. Not the way that I would normally want to present myself as an actor, where I'm wearing like 20 other hats and I'm so distracted and I feel like I'm not giving 100% to the one area that I'm trying to focus on. But, you know, you do what you do, and I learned a lot, and that actually was really good and sort of helping redefine my image. And, you know, because people kind of just saw me one way, and I was trying to break the mold and say, no, see me a bigger way or a different way. And so, yeah, that was really good, really helpful. I have a lot of opportunities that came from the shorts that I did.
Oh, that's good, because when I found them, I thought you were trying to do more off screen. So I thought you wanted to go down a different road, you know, when acting was done or stunts were done or whatever, that you wanted to be, I don't know, director, producer, etc. So I didn't realize that was for you to be like, guys, check this out. Look what I can do. It's awesome, isn't it? Look at it.
I don't think I want to direct, maybe later in life. That part was really hard. And I am actually very focused on writing, producing at this stage of my career. But I also am playing on camera as well, which for me is the best part. It's the most fun part. The writing, there's something about writing I find to be just torturous. And I've talked to so many professional, successful writers who tell me they feel the same. And I'm like, really? That's crazy. Because it feels to me like, oh my God, how do people do this? It's so hard. I find it so challenging, but also rewarding. And then producing is just like, oh my God, it's the challenges, like day to day. I'm in prep for my first feature right now. And it's just, we keep, you know, the dates keep getting pushed. And then, you know, we lost this actor because of the schedule. And then you have to call everybody in the crew. And it's just so frustrating. And then, you know, setting up the financing, like not an easy thing to do. So I've learned a lot. It's been great learning experience. And hopefully we're actually going to start rolling some cameras in January. Yeah.
Fingers crossed. I don't envy you though, Danielle. That's just
no. I get what you mean with the writing though, because like it's a dream. I've always wanted to write a script for a movie, even if it never happened. I just want to say I've done it. And every time I have these ideas, like, right, it's right. And I open something to start writing, and my brain just goes, I don't know. I don't know what to write. I've got nothing for you, mate. Nothing.
It's tough.
It really is. Like I said earlier about you just forget the entire English language. It's like, make more map, blah, blah. It's like write words or something. I don't know.
So you've worked on some huge movies. Like, we'd be here for hours listing them all and talking about them all. But is there any that like stand out for you particularly? Any like really fond memories?
Oh yeah, I have so many. You know, again, we already talked about Matrix. That was like a really pivotal moment in my career and tremendous experience to be a part of that and work with all those people. But, you know, most recently, Army of the Dead, which, also mentioned from Zach, that is hands down. And I've been doing this a long time. That has been the number one best experience on set. I absolutely loved working with him and his team. He's got these incredible people that have been with him for many, many years and many, many films. And it's such a family environment. And he is such a great director. He knows exactly what he wants. He communicates it so well. And when you're working with Zach, like, he is going to make you look good. You don't have any, I'm just literally like, okay, whatever you want, like, I am your puppet. Like, how can I serve your story? How can I serve your character? Thank you for letting me step in these shoes and, blast a bunch of zombies with my big gun. It's so fun. And it was awesome. It was super awesome.
It's a great
so
film.
That one definitely stands out. And then for me, John Carpenter's Vampires, actually, you mentioned that at the beginning. That for me is like such a love, because it was my first, I'll say my real first stunt job. So I did Batman Forever. I ran out of the way of a glass thing crashing down. I was in really high heels. So, it was like a stunt. And then I worked on Blade, where I was one of a gabillion stunt people getting, hosed in blood. And I don't know, we had fun on that, but I did
the blood shower scene at the start.
Yes.
We spoke to the man that arranged all that, Mick Strawn.
Oh, really? Did he tell you what a nightmare it was?
Yes, he did, actually. Yeah.
They were at first recycling the blood from it literally would rain blood out of the sprinkler system in the nightclub. And then it would go through a system and then come back around. But we ended up shooting for so many days and there were so many people in there. It started getting kind of gross and ugly. I won't go into the stories, but they switched it and they said, okay, it was called the Tunnel of Blood. And they had this giant plastic tunnel that you'd have to stand in. And with a hose, they would just blast you to get you covered in it. And it was cold and it was gross. And it's so sticky. That stuff is so sticky when you're in it every day, all day, your eyelids stick together and your underarms stick together. And then it would be we'd be walking in the nightclub and the tiles of the floor would come up and stick to your foot. It was crazy. We filmed that thing for 2 solid weeks. And by the end we were all like, oh my God, get me out of here.
So I don't want to do this film anymore. I just don't want to do it. All right.
Oh my gosh. It was crazy. It was super crazy. So so that was my second film. And then my third film was Vampires. And that was when, for the very first time, I really got to do some serious stunts. And it was crazy because normally you're in stunts for years before you get to the point where they're letting you do ARAMs and ratchets and squibs and all these bigger things. And so I walked onto the set and when Jeff Amata, the coordinator, called me for it, he said, can you come out to New Mexico? And I said, well, what is it? I'm pretty green. I'm not very experienced. And he said, no, you'll be fine. You were a dancer. You can, you're going to just fight some vampires. You get pushed down, you get back up. You're fine. I get there. He's like, okay, here's an ARAM. And I'm like, what? And so I had to learn to ride the ARAM. My first shot, an ARAM is a machine that catapults you through the air through pressure that just hundreds of pounds of pressure, and that flies you through the air. So when you see bodies flying through the air on a movie, like when a bomb goes off or something like that, they're usually on ARAMs. I had to ride the ARAM from inside of a door, inside of the building. It was like the farmhouse with kind of a low ceiling, and get to the other side of the room and land on one of the other stunt guys' backs, which was crazy.
What?
So that was my first stunt. And then it broke out into a big fight. And then I thought we were done. And then they were like, oh no, you're a vampire. You I kept getting, every time I thought I died, the vampire was not dead. And I didn't know what I was getting into in the beginning. It's not like they gave me a script or anything. They just said, can you jump on a plane? And I jumped on a plane, and I was just literally like, as we were going on, figuring out like one stunt after another, after another, after another. So I had my first experience with squibs. First time I got squibbed, which for anyone that doesn't know, that's like how you simulate a gunshot. So when you see somebody's like goes psh, and all the blood comes out, like they just got shot by a gun, it's actually a little packet with some gunpowder in there that, a little explosive device that blows out. And it can be a little scary. Sometimes they can, pop and hit you a little bit, if you've never done it, it's a bit unnerving. So the first time I had to get squibbed, I had 13 on me at one time. And I was like, what? So in like 5 actors pointing their machine guns at me, all like, brrr, and then a few of the prop guys that are shooting dust, what they call dust hits on the wall. So in behind me, all the wall is blowing up. My body is blowing up. I've got guns aimed at me everywhere. This is my very first time being squibbed. So it's pretty intense. And then it just kept going, another stunt and another stunt and another stunt, because this vampire just won't die. And so that for me was one of the most pivotal moments of my entire life. That was the moment that I said, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be a full-time stunt woman. At that point, I think I quit my dance class. I quit my acting class. I got into gymnastics and martial arts. I started training every day. I started hustling sets and stunt coordinators. I was like, I'm in. I want to do this. I love this. This is so fun. And John Carpenter and his wife, Sandy, were just so good to me. They treated me like family. They took me under their wing. All the stunt guys on that set also were just like my little guardian angels. I was young and green, and they took really good care of me. And they were like, you should do this. And they all called their friends and said, hire her. And that was it. My career just went, just took off. Yeah. So that was a really fantastic experience.
It's another one.
Sorry, Jeremy.
I was going to say, it's another one of those first things that are just incredible. Your first proper stunt role. Oh, just with this indie movie making, you may have heard of John Carpenter. I think he's done a thing or two.
I didn't even know John was directing when Jeff called me and said, can you come to New Mexico? I was like, okay. I didn't know what it was until I got on set. And then I was like, okay, it's vampires. Okay, great. We did the rehearsal. I still didn't know what. I didn't know what it was. And then I showed up on set, and then there's John, and I went, oh. Oh. And he's so intimidating in the beginning when you meet him. He's he's a legend, and he has a very intimidating presence. And then you get to know him and you go, oh, you're a big teddy bear. I love him. I love John Carpenter so much.
When you get roles and stuff like that, do you know what's to come, or do you only find out when you get there? Like you said, you didn't know what you were in for when you went for vampires.
Honestly, I think it's unusual. But in my experience, I never know what I'm doing until I get there. It was like that with Army of the Dead too. Soccer Mom was not in the script. She was not on the page. She was only living in Zach's head. So I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, he and I spoke. And so I kind of knew the backstory. So when I do my homework is really about creating the character from the backstory. Like I like to journal as the character. So I really like get into their skin. And it's not so much about learning lines and figuring out if I'm going to hit this mark on this beat or whatever. I'm not technical about it. I like to just get in there and then trust that the lines are going to come when I have them. And so it was okay for me to work that way, but unusual. I don't think most actors would say the same thing, but in my experience, I typically just figure it out in the moment.
Okay. Have there been any stunts where you've gone, nope, I'm not doing that?
Yes, there have.
My
dog just showed up. Hi, Ripley. Yeah, I used to host this show called Worst Case Scenario. Mike Rowe was the host. I'm just going to say right now, there are all these websites that like who's dating who. Everybody has always thought that we were a couple. I'm just going to say right now that never happened. We worked on this show together, and he's a lovely man. And I co-hosted one of the segments. I was Gadget Girl or Gear Girl, or I forgot what my name was. I was Gear Girl. I was Gear Girl. And it was like they wanted me to be one, and then I had to be the other because somebody owned the rights to the other name. Anyway, and there were quite a few things on there that they were trying to get me to do, and I was like, no, I'm not doing that. Actually, one of them I was going to have to do was a diving with sharks. And it was a device similar to my little bark thing here, where you go under the water and you press this button and it's supposed to repel the sharks away. And I said, I don't feel good about this. And they were sending me on an open dive out in Hawaii, and I wasn't even an experienced diver. I had to get scuba certified for it, which I did. And then I kept going to the producer and saying, I don't feel comfortable doing this. I don't want to do it. And he was like, too bad. I've got you on contract. You have to do it. I was like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. Well, isn't it funny the way the universe works? This is when I was shooting Matrix simultaneously. So I was in Australia, and then I was on the way home from Australia, I was supposed to go straight to Hawaii to do the shark dive. And that was when I broke my rib. And then the doctor said, you can do anything except you cannot dive with a broken rib.
Get in.
Thank you. And then I have a friend who used to be a Navy SEAL. And when I got home from that trip, he said, oh my gosh, you were going to dive with that thing in Hawaii where the mako sharks are? He said, no. The Navy SEALs did a test. They sent a guy down, or they sent a dummy down in a cage. And when they deployed that thing, like the nurse sharks would run away. The mako sharks ripped the cage apart, ripped the dummy out of the cage. And I was like, some angels looking after me. Thank you.
Did you turn around to the producer and go, listen to this, asshole?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. And then it was shortly after that they actually canceled my segment, and I was so happy. I was like, I mean, I did have some fun doing that show, but I was like, I am so happy because that was not, there were several moments where I did not feel so cozy and comfortable. But in general, I have no problem saying no. I've been called to do a lot of things, go out a 3-story window on fire. And I'm like, yeah, I don't do that. I don't do fire. I don't do high falls. I have actually done 3 stories. I have done a 3-story fall, but I'm not a high fall specialist. There are plenty of things that I say, no, I'm not comfortable. And there's a lot of stunt people out there who really want the work. And so they will say they can do more than they can. And that's a terrible thing, because not only can you hurt yourself, you can hurt other people. It's not a good thing to do. No. So I have no problem saying no.
I can imagine when they asked you to do the open dive, you were like, right, what can I do to get, guys, could you just break my ribs? Is that all right? Just like Google history, like how do you break ribs?
Had I known that was going to be my out, I would have pulled that card earlier. But yeah, it all worked out. I feel very protected somehow.
So you got to be a part of one of my favorite TV series of all time.
Which one?
Which is 24.
Oh my God, it was great.
Oh, I literally want to sit here and talk 24 for hours. That's all I want. But what was it like? What was it like being on the set of 24? What was that getting? Did you get a call for it, or did you have to audition?
I auditioned for that. So this was the coolest thing for me, because I don't really watch a whole lot of TV, but I was a huge fan of 24. And it was the first time ever that I was working on a show that I was like a mega fan of. So yeah, I was so excited.
I can imagine.
And that was when I had when I did have a smaller agent at one point, that was a role that it literally was supposed to be just a couple of lines in one day. And and just as an actress, no stunts. And I booked the role, and then the role got bigger, and then they added on, and then they actually had me in 3 episodes, but the second episode I actually got cut out of. So I'm in the I'm in the one before, and then I'm in the one after. And then my last episode that I did there was a pretty, I mean, I don't know. At this point, I don't guess there's any spoiler alerts because it's been so many years.
Exactly.
But season 5, when Edgar dies, my character is the one responsible. And so it was such a powerful episode to be a part of.
Days.
And then I had so many of the fans like reaching out to me, like so angry, like they were so upset. Yeah, they were really mad at me, you know? So, but that was really fun. Actually, it was very cool.
Yeah, I'll never forget that episode. I can hear it now, Danielle. I can just hear Chloe. Like, oh no.
You know what it was too? It was the first time ever that they didn't do the clock countdown at the end of the episode. It was silent because of Edgar. Oh, I just got chills thinking about it. It was so good.
That episode after as well, though, with because. His name's left my mind. Sam Astin, because he was the head. Wasn't
Sean,
he?
yeah, Sean Astin.
Sean Astin. Sean. I knew it was S.
Yeah.
My apologies.
Well, Sam, you know, we always think of him as Sam because Sam was his character name in the
Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
Yeah. See, that's what. Thank you. That's my bailout. But obviously, he's with the guard and somebody else, isn't he? When they have to, in that, I think the episode after, when they have to go to another room to get the aircon back on and stuff like that. I don't know. That's just where I'm going. Sorry, I was just trying to reminisce about 24, Daniel. It's all right. It's fine.
I got to work with Sean. And my first scene in that is where he's actually firing me, and he was lovely. That was great to get to work with him.
And you got to work in CTU as well. Like
I did. It was so cool.
It's just amazing.
It was so cool. Yeah.
Oh, I love that show. Sorry, Jamie.
Epic. No, it was an epic moment.
It's flying over my head because I've never actually watched it. I really should.
Have to go back and get that one. I know it's actually a great series.
Yeah, to be fair, he's been telling me for years I need to watch it. I just never get around to it. I'm pretty terrible at things like that. But this leads nicely into my next question, to be fair, because are those, obviously other than 24, have you had any of those moments where you just have to like pinch yourself? Because it's a crazy moment, like working on the Matrix movies, working with Zack Snyder, being a body double for Jennifer Garner, you know, just those moments where you're like, is this life?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Am I really here? I've met some of the most incredible people. I got to work with Oprah and Sir Anthony Hopkins and some real pinch me moments, real pinch me moments. Yeah. A lot of them. I've been pretty blessed.
So I was going to lead off that as well with 1 hour photo, because obviously Robin Williams.
Oh yeah.
Another absolute iconic legend. Obviously gone too soon in my opinion. But like, what was like working on the set with there?
Yeah, I was only on that show for a day, and then that happens a lot, right? Where I'm just day playing. Like I meet some like Harrison Ford. I worked with him for like one day. So it's not like I really got a lot of one-on-one and interaction, but he was lovely. And again, another one of those just absolute icons that I was starstruck to be around and honored to get a chance to just be in the same room. It was very cool.
I was to say, you still get starstruck now with everything that you've done.
I do, and it's really weird. I don't know if you've ever been starstruck, but it's a really weird thing that happens. Like you never know when it's going to come. Like for me, I would think, I've worked with some pretty big people. You'd think I'd be starstruck by Keanu Reeves or Oprah or whatever. And then no, I get starstruck by Michael Stipe from R.E.M. I literally lost my senses. Like I was like, I'm like a babbling idiot. I can't even make a sentence. And I like went into some weird thing where I was in denial that it was actually him, even though he was introduced as Michael and he was talking about recording his latest album and everyone in the crew was walking around singing Losing My Religion. I still like my brain was having a hard time putting it together. And I was like acting like a total idiot. Yeah. Blah, 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 blah. I can't even like
Brilliant.
make a sentence. It's happened a few times, and it's always like, why with that person? Like, I mean, I'm a huge REM fan, so I mean, don't get me wrong, not like why Michael Stipe, but why not Oprah? Why not Keanu? Why not Sir Anthony Hopkins? Why not? But you never know.
That's amazing.
It's weird.
I love that. So it's funny. I was doing my research for this and looking through your IMDb, and like some of my favorite films are listed on. Two of my favorite comedy films of all time are listed on there, and I was like, "What stunts are in this movie?" I just couldn't think for the life of me. Like, I Love You, Man, and Not Another Teen Movie. I was like, those are two of my favorite films. I know pretty much every word to Not Another Teen Movie, and I could not think where the stunts in that film.
Oh, Not Another Teen Movie. I don't even know if that made the final cut, but the character, I think they're drunk or something. I don't know, but for some reason she jumps off of a balcony into a pool.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. So was that you that did the jump?
So I did the jump.
Oh,
and
that's amazing.
The funny thing about that is that, you know, for stunts, we were always in wigs. And when you're doing a stunt, they really want to like nail that wig onto you. And it's sometimes I'm always like, you don't have to put like 1,000 pins in my head because it really hurts and it like tears my hair out. But on that one, they were like, yeah, but you're going in the pool, you know, and it was like a cannonball. So it was like the pressure coming straight up. They were like, it's going to rip that wig off. And I was like, now we're going to nail it down. And we put so many pins, we nailed that thing onto my head so tight. And when I got in the pool, it ripped it off my head and it hurt. You don't think about these things. That wig was like floating at the top. And then on I Love You, Man. Oh my God, I had so much fun that day. I got to work with Paul and Jason, and they were so lovely. Like, I actually was just talking about Paul the other day. I was thinking, you know, I got no sense of like, you know, some Hollywood actor, you know, energy, just super down to earth, cool guys, super friendly. Sadly, my scene did not make the cut, but it's when they're out, they're golfing, and they with the two girls, and it's like I was doubling the girlfriend. Her real name is Sarah, so not the girl who's the lead in the movie. Like I'm now getting like a brain freeze. What's her name? Anyway, I'm doubling the friend, right? And what it was that she jumped in the golf cart and did this crazy thing in the golf cart and like ran into some other people. I think part of it's in there, but the stunt's not in there. Yeah. So, and that happens a lot. But it's always fun working on comedies. I love work. I got to do Will and Grace for a few episodes, doubling Deborah Messing. And people would always go, what kind of stunts are in Will and Grace? I'm like, oh, we did some really fun stunts. There's one episode where Karen, she's staying at Karen's house, and Karen just gets so sick of her that she like kicks her out of the house and she pushes her down the stairs. And it's this, you see, so it's me coming down the stairs. And then what they did was they had Deborah hiding, because it's live audience, right? So they actually had this table in the living room. Deborah's hiding behind the table. I would tumble down the stairs, get into position. And as I hit the bottom of the table, Deborah like came up out of the table with this beautiful expression on her face. And it's so hilarious. I am actually going to pull that off my reel and post it. It's like one of my favorite clips. It's so funny. And then we did another one where she was coming home from, I don't know, like, I want to say it was like a fertility center or something. She had a little bag of something in her hand and she's like running through the park, like in New York. And she looks over her shoulder as she's running. And as she turns back, there's like this pole right in front of her that she just like smacks into. So, you know, these silly little things, you need stunt people.
So you've essentially done live stunts then, in a way, with a live audience.
Yeah. With a live audience. Yeah, it's really fun to work with a live audience. Really? I love it. Well, especially, you know, coming from my dance background and being on Broadway, I'm quite used to being in front of a live audience. So I love working on sitcoms because they actually still, I don't know if they do now post-COVID, but yeah, live audience for sitcoms, so fun.
Oh wow, that's something I generally did not know that. But you've done some voiceover work as well in games.
Yeah.
Devil May Cry and the Marvel vs. Capcom.
Yes.
As well. That must be so weird going from on a set, flipping, doing all sorts of stupid shit like crazy stuff, to then being in a booth just recording. I mean, do you like? Is it a bit more of a relaxed environment? What's it like?
Yeah, it's a totally different thing. So, but it all goes hand in hand. So the reason I got to do Devil May Cry was, and the Marvel versus Capcom is all the same character, Trish and Gloria from Devil May Cry 4. And that was through my stunt work. I got invited to come and do the motion capture. And then once I did the motion capture, they decided to use me for the voice. So yes, we did all the physical stuff first, and then I did the voice. And then when I'm acting, a lot of times after you film something, they have to go in, and it's called ADR, where maybe if they didn't get clean sound, you have to go into the booth and re-record some of your dialogue. So it doesn't feel all that unusual to me, because I had done quite a bit of ADR. Actually just did some ADR yesterday. So fun.
Oh, awesome. I didn't realize the motion capture stuff. That's why I thought you were literally going for big sets just to booth.
Yeah, but it is fun. And it's it's kind of nice that you can just show up like in your pajamas and no makeup and sit there and scream at the microphone for a while and call it a day's work. It's good fun.
Especially for a fighting game, must be quite weird. Like, ha! Huh!
Oh yeah. Yeah. Then they want the reactions, a big one, a medium one, a small one, and then you have to do like series of them, and then screaming like the big death. Ah! And how loud can you scream? And then at the end, you're really like, woof, woof.
I can imagine.
Yeah. Vocal cord workout.
So during this, you've told us about so many different stunts that you've done. Is there a particular favorite type of stunt that you enjoy doing?
I mean, I think for me, what's most natural is fight choreography, and then being on wires, just from my background, and that it just feels really natural and fun. Choreography is something that my brain just picks up easily and well, and I love putting the moves together. I love having a whole sequence and then working with other performers. I love a good fight scene, but it's all fun. It's all good. And it's all not at the same time. Some of it is really fun, and then some of it is so not fun. And you never know. Some of the gnarliest stunts on camera were maybe the easiest to shoot and pretty cushy gigs, versus some things that maybe looked easy, but then they were really hard. You just never know.
Is there anything that you've really wanted, you wished you'd been a part of? Is there anything film-wise, TV-wise that you wished you got a gig for?
Oh, there's a million. There's every time I see a movie, I'm like, I wanted to do that one. Yeah, I wouldn't have done that. I would have done this. I would have done that. I would have done this. all of them, everything that's good, everything that I love. Yeah, for all the wonderful things I've worked on, there are far, far, far many more that I didn't, or maybe I had an opportunity and then I didn't get it. I did have an opportunity to audition for the Amazon women in or one of the roles in Wonder Woman that that didn't work out. So that's, it's always like, oh, I would have really loved to have done that.
That would have been so cool. That would have been awesome.
So yeah.
So obviously with such a varied career and the amount of things you've done, is there anything that you still want to do, on the checklist?
Oh yeah. I mean, there's so many things. I mean, I feel like I've only just started. And hopefully if my movie really goes in January, this is a role that I'm very, very excited to play. And hopefully will be the beginning of more of that kind of thing for me, stepping into some bigger roles. And for me, it's about the diversity too. I mean, as a storyteller, as an actor, I want to play a variety. I really want to show my range. And so whereas playing the badass, soccer mom kind of roles are so good and so fun and kind of what people do think of me for. I love doing them. I also would love to play something completely the opposite end of the spectrum, more vulnerable and just bigger. The bigger the range, the better.
Well, it's all about experience, isn't it? So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We've talked a lot about movies and stunts and whatnot. What do you, other than guitar, what do you like to do with yourself when you're not on set and doing bits and pieces and, doing your job?
I'm a huge meditator. I love to meditate. I have a pretty strong spiritual practice. So I love that. And I love going to like sound baths, and I love going on hikes and being in nature. I love my garden. I love spending time in the yard. I have so many amazing friends out here. I just love doing different things. I just went to the Van Gogh immersive exhibit.
Oh, wow.
I went to my first concert in 2 years last week, which was like, I miss live music so much. So I love doing that. I love going out for great meals and sometimes just having friends over and cooking a meal. Yeah, I like to just mix it all up. And I love travel. And that's another thing I've been sorely missing for the last 2 years, but I really am looking forward to getting back to traveling.
Is there anywhere you haven't been yet that you want to go to?
So, I mean, I want to go everywhere.
The world.
I want to see like every corner of the world. I did get to go to Africa 3 years ago. That was incredible. And I want to go back desperately, but then there's so many other places that I haven't been at the same time. So yeah, I don't know what'll be next. Let's see.
Amazing. So what have you got coming up? Any projects in the pipeline that you can talk about?
So the one that will be filming in New Mexico in January, it's called Squealer, and it's a horror, it's a thriller. Has a lot of action. It's actually inspired by a true story about a pig farmer turned serial killer.
Oh, wow.
And so that, and then with my creative partner, we have several other projects in the pipeline. Hopefully that will come after that. They're more action based, but they're, very strong character story. It's not just a lot of gratuitous action. They're really grounded, heartfelt stories with like really rich characters. So talk more about them when we get them actually greenlit. But yeah, Squealer should be next. And I'm excited about that. I did a role on Fear the Walking Dead. I don't know when that will be out. I shot that last month. So we'll see when that's coming out. I cannot say anything about my role and whether I would be a zombie or not, but I will just say that I might not be so easily recognized. But if you follow me on social media, then you'll know when I'm coming and you'll know it's me. But it was a really fun. It was great. What else? I don't know. I can't think of anything else.
Was I right in thinking that you've got a podcast?
I do have a podcast. I've taken a break from it recently, but the episodes are all still up there. It's called Women Kick Ass. And I feature strong women in the film industry. So really started with a lot of stunt women and then started weaving in some actors, and then really started reaching out to producers and visual effects producers and stunt coordinators and all the different departments with all the badass girls on there. So I've got some great guests on there. Jessie Graff, who was American Ninja Warrior, Zoe Bell, who does a lot of Tarantino movies, and she's unbelievable stunt woman, stunt coordinator. Now she's getting into directing and producing, but you will recognize her. She's phenomenal. Deb Snyder, Zach's wife, we had her on, and Sam Wynn, if you guys have seen Army of the Dead, she plays Chambers. She's the one that like annihilates like a gazillion zombies before before they might get the best of her. So yeah, that's been a lot of fun. And yeah, now I'm so busy and prepped for everything else. I've had to kind of take a break from that, but I am planning on picking it back up.
Amazing. I implore everyone to go and check that out. Absolutely everyone. Right now. Hit that subscribe button.
Do it. Yeah, we have, I think we went for once a month for 2.5 years. So there's there's quite a few episodes on there to catch up on, and we'll start getting some new ones out soon.
Excellent.
Beautiful. Tom, before we start wrapping up, have you got any more questions?
Did you ever think, Danielle, that life would go the way it has done, that you'd be where you are today?
No. One thing I've learned is that life has a mind of its own, and that I never, honest to God, never in a million years would I have predicted that I would have become a stunt woman ever. That was a total shocker to me and my family. And yeah, most of the places that life has taken me, I did not predict it at all, but it's been good.
Wonderful.
Amazing. Danielle, before we wrap up, we like to play a little game with our guests, if you're willing.
No, I'm not. What is it?
It basically involves you flying yourself across the room. No, it's called the quick fire round. We ask you 5 questions, and it's really easy because they're all about you.
Okay, great. I love talking about me. We'll play.
The first question: what's your favorite pizza topping?
Oh, you know what's crazy? Pine nuts.
Pine nuts?
Really?
Weird. It's a new thing, and it's new and it's weird, and I love it.
Okay.
Try it.
Never had that answer before.
Pine nuts, basil with some like olives, and yeah, it's good.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What is your go-to karaoke song?
You know, I have been terrified of singing in public, and there was no way I was ever gonna do karaoke. But now that I've been playing the guitar, I am ready to step up and do some karaoke. And I'm gonna sing "Have You Ever Seen the Rain?"
Beautiful.
Amazing.
Beautiful. Let's see, where should we go next? How do you take your hot drinks, your tea and your coffee?
I take it without caffeine because I am very caffeine sensitive. So I drink herbal tea every morning. I have a variety of different ones that I like. The one I love the most is lavender mint right now. I'm the craziest person. I drink like sleepy time tea in the morning when I wake up. I'm weird like that.
Lavender and mint, that sounds really nice.
It's really nice.
I'd quite like to try that. Who would play you in the movie of your life?
Wow. I mean, if I had my choice, Charlize Theron could play she could play me all day long, please. She's my favorite. Yeah, I'm gonna cast her.
Why not?
Because I love her and she can do anything.
And last but not least, if you could get in a time machine and give one piece of information to little Danielle, what would that be?
It would be put the beauty products on that you put on your face, also put them on your neck. Because as you get older, like, we don't realize we have to take care of our neck as well. This is where I feel like
I don't know what the hell you're about.
That is a unique answer if ever I've heard one. I love that.
Well, thank you.
Danielle, this has been so much fun. Thank you so much for this.
Yeah, thank you. I had a really good time. Thanks for having me on.
We really appreciate it. Well, I hope jury duty goes well. I hope you don't have to actually stay or do anything.
Thank you. I hope the same. I mean, I want to do my duty, but I also want to go live my life. So
yeah. Before we let you go, have you got any plugs, social medias, anything you want people to go check out?
I mean, I dabble on the social a little bit. I'm on Instagram and Twitter. I think I'm pretty easy to find. I'm Danny Burgio 1111. Yeah, you can find my podcast. I've got a website out there, danielleburgio.com. I love people reaching out. I love interacting with everyone. So feel free to reach out, and thanks for letting me ramble on. And
not at all.
Thanks for listening to all my weird stuff.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us. But now we managed to get it arranged. And,
yes.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you so much. Hopefully you guys won't have to do too much editing, because I know there was a lot of clanking around.
Oh, I didn't.
Hopefully you didn't hear it.
No. All good.
Good.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you guys have a great night.
Thanks. Oh, we will. We will.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Danielle. This has been amazing.
Thank you, guys. I hope we get to talk again soon.
Hopefully.
Definitely.
Take care of yourself.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Hi, I'm Frank Guglielmelli, And I'm the narrator for some wonderful audio dramas from Syscast, like Marty and Mars, Bounty Hunters, and a great part in Val Toby, with much more to come. You can find these programs on Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts. Or head over to our website, www.syscast.com. We are excited to announce that we are now affiliated with the Chronicles of Podcast with Tom and Jamie.